PDF. I might have to if I need to.
Yeah. Yeah. And he is. Boy. Well, a few more people get settled before we start. Oh, well, we're gonna use that during presentation.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to have you drive. It's doing its.
We were just looking for a farm and I made it. We have a nice full room and a light agenda, so this is fun. So, land and it cares for all inhabitants. We prioritize inclusive and equitable land use, valuing people over commodification. Through pedestrian friendly infrastructure, transit oriented development, open space preservation, and affordable housing, we strive for a vibrant and sustainable neighborhood. Additionally, we promote responsible economic development that supports historic preservation, local businesses, fosters job opportunities, and enhances the overall economic vitality of Normal Heights. Today's agenda, the items may be addressed out of order. We did have a last minute change to the agenda regarding filling of any empty seats that are on the board. And proceedings are recorded and are publicly posted on our website afterwards, along with any presentations that we show. The chat entries are not considered official communications, even if two are from board members. But if you are on Zoom, please enter your chat enter your name in the chat for our attendance, because our attendance does count for our credo down at City Hall. And if you're interested in being on our newsletter, be sure to either sign in with the form at the door or drop your email into the chat and we'll make sure to get you on the newsletter. Next up, a few rules. 2 minutes per person during public comments, and please try to stay on topic when we open the floor for questions on presentations. A lot of questions can be answered offline with follow-ups with the presenter. Our civic representation, our guests, and be treated with the utmost respect. And try to be as factual as possible. Share the space, especially for new faces. Anyone is free to attend, whether they be from Kensington or Somalia. Still no horses inside. Next is non-agenda public comment. So at this point, let me bring in some more people from the waiting room. Madison is joining us remotely today. So when we take if we have any votes or roll calls, remind me who's Madison. Do we need a roll call for the names? Did you get everybody?
I think I have it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, great, thank you. I don't want to steamroll you. So, for the public. To say, yes, please, and if you would, come up so that the folks on Zoom can hear and see you.
Hey everyone, Kim Fan, resident here at Loma Heights. I just want to say we had an awesome rock and roll-a-thon this past weekend. I noticed that there was less trash left over, especially on Mountain View Drive compared to last year, so that's a big win. And also I was just walking around Adams and then over in Hillcrest. And I noticed that even after the wave of runners came through and the time when it was clear of runners, but enforcement still kept the roads closed. And during that time, I saw a lot of families out with bikes, the closed streets with no cars. And it was really cool to see people taking advantage of like a road closure like that. And speaking with you mentioned, it would be really cool if, you know, even once a year, twice a year, we do something like that in Normal Heights. Not to say that, you know, it should be Adams Avenue. I would actually think that closing Mountain View Drive, you know, that section where it meets east and west, would be a cool opportunity. Close it off to cars, let people come to the neighborhood. It is perfect because if they were to do a whole loop, they would end at Adams. And it would also be an opportunity to kind of pilot, you know, keeping fast cars off of Mountain View Drive if we did an event like that. So just throwing ideas out there. But it was a really great event.
That does sound like a great idea. I know that up in LA, they closed the Pasadena freeway and they let people stroll the freeway for a whole day.
Yeah.
So those kinds of events are being sponsored by mostly like MTS and other companies, other entities in the government. So we will definitely forward that to our D9 council. I think that's something that would be. Paul, right?
Yep.
We just opened public comment. Do you have anything? Into Zoom. And now let's go to the Zoom. Rainey, yes.
If I can just piggyback off of what the attendee just said, since we've lived here, we ourselves have held 2 different block parties where all of our neighbors got together and we provided food for them and they came and met each other. And I always thought it was a fantastic idea. It's a way for people to get to know each other and care more about each other. And so I second the motion of getting us to have. The first time we did it, we blocked off the street and it was an absolute headache. So the second time we didn't, but I would love to see us blocking off streets and just having an opportunity to meet your neighbors.
Thank you.
What?
Do you have any other public comments on Zoom? Do we have public comment from the board? Oh, yes.
This is Madison on Zoom. Just to follow up to that, I think it would be helpful if we were ever to consider blocking streets for an event to get the permission buy-in from the neighbors that are impacted on that street. Just to Rami's point, like it might be a little bit of a headache. So making sure that it's feasible and not gonna deter anyone's ability to park or access their homes when it's blocked. We just want to look into that.
Yes, thank you. And now, Susan, yes.
Good evening, Susan Redlings, Normal Heights Fire Safe Council. I know you're going to get tired of seeing me, but this is the month. that will celebrate that 40th anniversary of the Normal Heights fire that happened in our neighborhood. The big win there is there were no lives lost. So we hear about all the thousands of homes and the hundreds of thousands of deaths. We had no lives lost. So big win. And the 29th, I know that's Taste of Adams Day, but there's no conflict there. I'm doing a DIY canyon cleanup. So if you'd like to designate a canyon, an area that could be cleaned up by a small work crew, or you yourself do the cleanup, DIY, bag it, put it in a debris bag, take a picture. How many hours did it take you to do this? Send that info to me. I need the metrics because I did get a grant, and the grant is predicated on me using it for either home hardening or vegetation. I love information via normalizedfiresafe.org. You can QR this. I don't have too many of the flyers left. I could airdrop one to you if you wish, and or look on normalheightsfiresafe.org. Then on Monday, we'll have what I call a sunset toast. Could be an ice cream cone. It could be a cold drink. Come on down to the 5100 block of 34th Street. One of the neighbors who has since passed, called it the Miracle on 34th Street. And that would be one of the streets that would be cut off should there be a block of the Mountain View. One ingress, one egress. So I don't think that's going to happen. Anyway, as I was running out, the fighters were running in. But I'd like everybody to come to the win of no lives lost. Any more info, let me know.
Thank you. We'll close yes.
Do we have district or city with us tonight?
Fatima's online.
Okay, this would be for Fatima, but the day after the rock and roll marathon, I didn't see it, but two neighbors messaged me directly. And they're just kind of irate that we've lost parking, understandably due to the daylighting. Everyone thinks that's a good idea, but they were basically offended that all the rock and roll and stuff, the barricades were stored for 24 hours in those places that have been painted and we're told not to park. You know, so
yeah.
That, and then also, if Sarah for District 9, several members of the community also reached out to me about the mock building. There's been no activity there for about a month. It's just become stagnant, and there are kids playing in there behind the fence. There's kids jumping over the fence to get their balls, and the parents at the park, when I go on the weekends, they're asking what's going on, why did it stop? So we're just trying to figure out why progress has stopped.
Okay, I'll make sure to get that to Sarah. Yeah.
I don't know if Sada's here today, but earlier today she did give an update to the Adams Avenue BIA, that the demolition is scheduled for mid-June. There was a few delays there that we have to follow through with the contractor, but it is scheduled for middle of June. Should everything go smoothly beyond that, those concerns about people jumping into the fence, if you could go ahead and also send those over to me. If there's any pictures of folks that people have been able to take, that's also helpful as well. I'll also share those with Sada, and we'll connect with our ECP team to make sure that they secure that fencing better, so folks aren't able to just cross over or jump over it as easily as it's accessible right now.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Oh, okay, here.
Oh, see you first, go ahead.
Okay.
There was a tax incident on our building, the brick building. The road down because there's construction, there's not like people there. Is that something that AABA handles, or would I go look at that? Because I know a lot of times like North Park Main Street, they take care of it, but.
The ABA does do graffiti removal all along the,
Okay, so
they have plugged that.
a ticket to Scott, or, you know.
Yes, but Scott, no.
Okay.
Put it on the list.
I think they only do city property.
No, for. Yes,
It was just a reminder that our $500 budget that we get as a planning group will be up at the end of the fiscal year, so if we haven't already, we should spend $500 for the reason July 1st.
Okay. They did reimburse the Zoom account
Okay, I just didn't know because I worked last.
for last,
Okay,
so,
as long, the city gives us that money, so as long as we're using it, use it or lose it, so.
yeah, right.
Great.
So I think uh,
Yes.
and so make sure to get that on the list.
Oh, that was what we used the 500 from last year on.
Okay,
On the last day. That's why I remember it now, because we're scrambling to get it in the last fiscal year, so.
okay. And then if we have any, if we're under, we'll buy more postage because we can always do mailers. Or promoting the event.
Yeah. So if you need me to buy one, posted by certainly can.
Okay, yeah, I guess we'll coordinate with Francis to shoot. Yeah, it's important. I got from a sailor down to the. So I'll kind of try and get a better one.
It's a projector.
Yeah, the LCD is starting to go. Yeah, but they're pretty inexpensive. And that could also be part of the. Yeah.
You don't need 500 for that either. It's 50
Yeah.
bucks.
You want to tell? So? Okay. Okay.
Everyone as well.
Okay, I guess next we'll move into the presentation. Gregory is the architect for the project on Adams Avenue. And it's kitty corner from Bonds, next door to where the hair salon is. The Cloud Building. Go ahead.
I emailed you the presentation because
Okay.
can you either that or I could take the HDMI, either one. I said,
Okay.
or yeah.
Oh, you know what? But then I need to show it to people in Zoom. So it's actually better.
Oh, okay.
Pick up in the meeting.
All right. Yeah, it's emailed to you.
Yeah.
And if that doesn't work, I have it on the flash drive.
Okay.
Sorry, folks, technical difficulty. Huh?
It smells good.
Is he looking for?
One of the screens has that. Yeah.
I don't know what your software is, Adobe or Bluebeam or,
That's just the.
Oregon.
Oh, it's. Download.
Oh.
Okay.
And I think the what do you call it here, the Wi-Fi is. I've known a few minutes early, maybe.
Yeah.
And I thought it would have been.
Should it be better?
That would be a flash drive, not really.
Yeah.
The only one, it's the only file on there.
Let me see if I have
You have a USB port?
gee,
Person said.
I just have to. Oh, wait, it's not that. It's the other way. Oh, yeah.
USB 3.0. I apologize, I didn't. That was.
No, it's-
I use Teams. I didn't get it.
Weird, it's taking it long. Oh, actually, why don't we just give you both, take that, and also do. You're in the Zoom too, right?
No, that's the problem. That's why I'm on, because of the Wi-Fi.
Oh, then let me give you a, you can connect on this, hotspot.
Oh, I guess I could have done it online too. So let me log out of this one.
You should see it, see a Wi-Fi hotspot. Marin
Yeah, got it. Password,
wheelhouse,
all lowercase,
all lowercase.
WHEEL.
Like a park train.
Or that's my wheelhouse as an architect.
See if that helps.
It's still not doing anything. It's,
No,
that's not it.
that's not, that.
Can't check, see if you emailed it. I can now. That much faster.
Yeah, in fact, I might, let me see, I think in the chat, we're saying that the connectivity for me is actually allowed.
Yeah, it's actually connecting right now. Test speaker and. Let's see, that's the camera. This is background effects. Let's just turned off the microphone.
Okay, and now you're in the meeting.
Oh, this will go much faster. Oh, that went much faster. Thank you. Okay. Let's see, where's my share screen on this? Let's share. Nice. Still showing.
Send that request to get it in. Oh, yeah, send that request. I think I might have accidentally canceled it.
Yeah, it says it's just the host isn't allowing it.
Yeah, let me make you. And then you'll have to. Anyway.
I try it now. No,
Yeah, okay.
host isn't allowing you to share.
You're going to be a co-host.
All right, I'm happy.
Okay,
Hey, it's letting me do that. All right,
and audio quality is better for folks on Zoom too.
even better.
Wow.
Okay. Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
I think you may need to make that bigger if you can.
I can do like this.
I guess we'll zoom in and out. Okay.
Yeah.
As everyone, I'm Greg Ensweiler. I'm architect for this project, which is at 3585 Adams Avenue, which, as he mentioned a minute ago, yeah, it's kind of hard to see up there, but he just pointed it out. Across from the cloud building, you called it?
Yeah, the cloud building.
That the building across the street, the apartment building that's like 4 stories high, and then the other, it's a CVS over there. It's a prominent location. There are a few buildings on the site right now, as you probably have been there. Those are going to be removed, and then we're basically going to take up the intent is to take almost the entire site. Obviously, there's setbacks for city planning, and we will have alley access, because the good part of this building is one of them is we're looking to do actually 18 units in this building. We are 14 by right by city planning standards. And we are looking to do 4 additional, but there's going to be the ground level, which I'll go straight to that. Explain how this is, if you want information on, this is all the code information, zoning, setbacks, and the unit mix, which I will, and this is just a picture of Adams Avenue, as you see, and then that's the map. But And then I'll go to here. It's kind of hard to see that there. This is the first floor and second floor. The first floor, as you probably maybe know, in a mixed use building like this, you have to have non-residential uses in the base of the building. And what's going to be there, this is like just under 1,100 square feet. And I should have started this. I apologize. Po Shang right here, he is the owner. He's going to be the owner of this building. And it's going to be, as I said, we're proposing 18 units. The height limit here is 50 feet. The top of the parapet is going to be at 49.6. And it's not as crazy as the one across the street, but it's still, I think, going to be a very good looking building. And I have renderings at the end, which we'll get to. Back to this area here is going to be retail, whether it's one larger tenant or two smaller tenants. That's to be determined. And then obviously this is the sidewalk along Adams, and then enter the lobby. This is kind of like a lobby, like a sculptural stair, and this is all glass front in here, which again, you'll see in the renderings. Elevator, laundry, and then as you come in from the lobby back here, or sorry, the alley back here, this is like a gate that would come in and park. Now, the cool part of this building is, or one of them, is I know it's hard to see here, but this is I don't know if you guys have seen this. This is it's actually a semi-automated parking system, meaning they stack. So we're going to get 16 or 15 parking spaces in here as well. And of course the ADA space, accessibility. What you do is you'll go in, and then I know they're showing all 8 here, and then there's 2 stories of them. And then one of them has to be blank so you can get in, of course. And then the computer for this thing will take it, move it up, and depending on the product we pick, it's either going to be done via like either a fob, or a lot of them now are just going to an app on your phone, and you'll just type it in, and it brings your car down, backs it out, and then in and out you go. The beauty of that is because, as I'm sure you've seen a lot of around this area, parking is a premium. There's not a lot of, and by right, because we're on the transit line, we actually are not required to even provide parking, but we want to provide parking for the tenants of this building. And I think it'll be a really nice feature. And the good side is, because of the location, we don't have to excavate a lot, only down about 2 feet, I think. So there's not going to be a whole lot of disturbance there. The transformer, I guess I go to the site plan. Oh, come on, there it is. This is kind of a civil engineering drawing, and it's really hard to read, but this is here. There's a lot of civil stuff here, but this is the shape of the building. It's a box. There's going to be an electrical transformer back here. You come in here and go around and in, and all the utilities will come from back here as well. So, which will make it a nice, clean look. Now, the fun part, the more fun part we'll get to at the end, but out here is the front entrance, where the concept is going to be. This is it's kind of hard to see up there, but this is a building that's here in San Diego, but it's like, there's going to be I want to do landscape kind of on both sides with a walkway between. It's very simple landscape, maybe even, I'm not going full desert planting, but it'll be walked through here. So, because this dimension is 57 feet. It's not that big. But as you walk through here, you'll have landscape on both sides, the retail, and then the entrance here, and obviously, recessed entries. And just to give you I'll give you a quick sneak peek here. There's a bunch of options, but
we can also have, the drawings.
Oh, yeah.
or
this is a full size set here.
So I think at the end of the presentation, we can have a little time for people to just come up and take a look at it, collect their thoughts, their questions.
Any questions, I'm happy to answer. Yeah. Actually, we'll come up. So keep going. The floors 2, 3, and 4 are pretty much the same. This is Adams Avenue is up here. This is a 2-bedroom unit, which is 960 square feet. Then these are both 1-bedroom units. These are both 1-bedroom units, and this is a studio. All units except the studio have balconies. They're either the one for the 2-bedroom unit is 72 square feet, and the ones for these are 55 square feet. So they're nice sized balconies. A lot of glass, a lot of light. But as I mentioned, That Zoom thing's in the way, but that's okay. I'm just gonna. Oh, come on. There, again, this is floors 3 and 4, which are the same. This is the kind of the concept. Again, it's hard to see up there, but there's furniture, layouts, bedrooms, bathrooms and everything, and kitchens. It's all on here. And obviously, if you guys going to come up afterwards, look at this or smaller set, it'll give you some more answers. But that's the inside, which we may change up a little bit here and there. But you can see there's 2 types of 1 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms in the studio. Actually, there's a third because we have to cut a little notch out of here for the elevator, but in essence, it's the same thing, but it's just, there's a notch. Oops, I went the wrong way.
For those on Zoom, you can change the magnification at your end. I believe you just right click on the screen and choose what magnification you would like.
These are the elevations, and it kind of come to life on my 3-dimensional renderings, which I'll have in a minute, but this is the front, as you're standing on Adams Avenue, you can see it. This is all glass. It's 13 feet. Well, the top of the slab here is 13 feet high, and then it's 10 feet floor to floor all the way up to the top. And my proposed is either for this area, this has to be all solid because that's where the elevator and the stair are. And since we're near the property line, can't be within 3. You can't have a little code lesson. You can't be, if you're within 3 feet of a property line, you can't have an opening. That's why what you probably saw on the plans, all these windows and doors are they're recessed back because it's building code. But this is I'm proposing used to be these and this frame to be metal panel or fiber cement panel. It's an enhanced material. It's pretty cool stuff. If you go downtown in a lot of areas, you'll see this material used, and it's a really nice looking material. The system's a rain screen. It's a really cool material. It really makes, and then it's balanced with plaster, and then the base is actually concrete. It's actually going to be cast in place concrete, and I'm working on finishes for the concrete, even though you can't really see this from the street unless you try to. So I'm not going to dress it up too much because you're not really visible. But this is, so to give you an idea of what this is, it's a podium. So the first floor is a type 1A concrete building, and then we're going to have a wood frame building above that. Which has been done how many times here in San Diego? Anywhere you go, you're gonna see it everywhere. And this is all recessed in here, and that's why there's going to be the colors are there are going to be an orange. There's going to be I think a deep burnt orange, and then kind of balanced with like a strong gray, and it's going to look pretty nice. And then if you can see it, this is a nicer gate back here where the cars can enter back in. And then the railings are I'm either debating between the cable rail or some kind of mesh. Gives it not industrial. It's kind of almost industrial, but it's a little. It's not. I think instead of glass, it would just look much nicer. And then you can see through it, and you sit out there and enjoy. Get Adams Avenue view. You could watch the Adams Avenue street fair from up there. And it's going to be. I think it's going to look a really nice building. It is kind of a box, but when you make it pretty nice, it's going to be pretty. It's going to be real nice. Now this is where I'm saying is this is a 3-dimensional view of the building. If you're up in the air, you can kind of see how these balconies are kind of special balconies just for those for the 2-bedroom units up here. And then this is actually the stair. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know how I did that, but okay. Anyway, this is I gotta zoom back in. Sure how I did that. I made oh, there we go. Sorry. I'm not using my mouse, so I'm having some issues.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, these are like special balconies with the metal panel cladding. It kind of mimics the frame of the building. And then the railings. This is actually the stairway because this side we're well within away from the property line. So you can actually kind of see the stairway here, which is going to look really nice in the lobby. And then if you this is an image of the building, but it's not gonna be exactly what it is, because this side has to be, I can't have openings over here because it's too close to the property line. However, this is gonna be the retail area. And however, what that actually looks like, again, it depends on who the tenants are, whether it's a salon, whether it's a Starbucks, that's, actually, it's probably not gonna be a Starbucks, because restaurants involve a lot more. But this is where, then you go in over here, the stairway up to the building, and then these are the units with, again, this kind of frame element, which I think is gonna look really nice. Two other options are, let's zoom back out, kind of ways we can, again, the final colors are to be determined, but this is, you can still see that the forms are there. Like this kind of framing of the building here. And then this is how it looks from Adams Avenue. Again, there's a building right here and a building over there, but they're single stories. And this, I'm kind of, the design concept is about framing in the masses of the building, which I think is going to work actually quite nice. And then over here, this is a little shinier than it's not going to be this shiny if we do that mass area, as I was explaining earlier. Tone it down a little bit, but I still think it looks really nice with the lighting in the interior here. And this is going to be the underside here, and the underside here is it's metal, but it's going to be a wood grain, which looks really nice. If there's a couple buildings downtown that have it on their soffits or the underside, it looks fantastic. And then obviously, so there's, as I said, and here's the balconies here. They're all, and all units have balconies except for the studios. And I think it's going to look really, really nice when it's done. And then the other thing I like is it's not overpowering what's going on. The building across the street is pushes the design a little further, but it's still, within height limit. But this is more residential design and residential scale. So, and with 18 units, I know we have to get that approved by, well, you guys have to have any comments on it, but the city will have to approve it because we're 14, we guaranteed. But with the issue with our housing, I don't see any problems with the city with that. But that's the building. And
So you'll be coming back to us at a later date for our approval, because we don't have it on our docket, so to speak, right now.
yes, what I want in this meeting is your input, comments, and obviously if you come up with some later, I'm happy to address them at that time too. And then what I am going to do is take what you guys do, and if we have to modify anything, then have a meeting set up with the city of San Diego planning, so I can go through there and they verify because of the San Diego Municipal Code to make, any issues with that. And for example, and then the biggest one there is the 18 units versus 14 units, because it affects the density, the residential density requirements. But as of right now, that has not been I've done 4 apartment buildings here in San Diego, and their city's happy with more. And now granted, these are all market rate units. They are not affordable housing units. So I'm obviously, I don't know if you're familiar with that, the incentives that the city gives, we are not eligible for those. Those are guaranteed. They don't, if you provide affordable housing, city have to. But we're going to ask for a variance.
You're not doing this under complete communities?
No.
Okay.
We don't, and however, we're actually exceeding a lot of what is required though.
I see.
The parking, and obviously setbacks are taken into account. And so the planning requirements are met, but we're exceeding in parking and we're exceeding in some other areas. But we're not doing complete communities.
Okay. I think what we'll do is, why don't we we'll do a quick round of questions.
Sure.
Based on what you presented.
Fine.
And then we'll just, and then if you don't mind, let's do the sort of the questions,
Mhm.
and then we'll have we'll take our 10-minute break. People can look at the drawings up close, and then we can follow up with one more round of Q&A.
Sure, sounds good to me.
That sounds, if you got the time, that would be good.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Then you're
yes.
first.
Sorry, I have a couple.
Fire away. I will need the zoning is this does need a conditional use permit. Is CUPD, because the zoning is CUPD-CC three. A lot of C's, I'm sorry. Blah, blah, blah. It's a CUPD CU33. And so that the first thing I do before every time is we get the planning and fire department approvals. Obviously, we're doing a community approval here or review here, but once we are here and you guys provide whatever comments you like, then I'll make any modifications required. Then I'm going to have an in-person meeting with the city, the planning department, and then the fire department, because once I secure those approvals, well, they'll have their comments, which is fine. And then I amend that. Then Poe and I will fine tune the design and the what we're going to actually do in the building. Then I will do, myself and my engineers do the construction documents. Then we go for the building permit. And but we also will have to get but before that will be the grading permit for even though there's very little grading, but to bring in utilities and anything, it has to have a civil engineer's grading permit.
Okay, so conditional use permit, it sounds like then affordable housing.
That's correct.
Rating, how deep are you going?
I think it's only 2 to 3 feet at most, and we may not even have to do that. I don't even think we may not even have to do that.
It SOHO says we need to remove some dirt.
There's a little, but it's very minimal.
But it's gonna be level.
Yeah, it's gonna be level. It's just the issue is the height for the stacking parking. But we are, because obviously there's the structure, the second floor structure, which we have to take into account, plus mechanical, because this has to be a mechanically vented garage because we can't go out the sides. And so there's gonna be a duct in there. And then the electrical room and bike room are all down, and the trash are all down there in the garage. And but we're not going down very far. It's probably maybe 2 feet, which is, if you've ever done grading, that's pretty minimal.
Have you submitted, has a fire reviewed it yet?
They have not. I planned on doing that. Poe and I have been working over the past few months about we're trying to get, quote, the bones or the guts of the building. I want to make sure he gets the product he wants before I go to the city, because I don't want to go to the city, and then also I change a lot of stuff, and then we almost start over. So,
Okay.
but that's.
Last thing, and sorry, I have more, but I'll let others speak. Do you have your climate action plan consistency in your plan set?
Not right now, but I will. It's part of it's required by it's required for submittal for building permit. I have that. I have the form. And I have all that. I don't have it as part of this presentation. Not yet. That's to be determined. Actually, we're not looking to put like an amenities space in the building.
Like because the cap consistency, you have to provide like shading.
Yeah. Oh, well, we have, okay. Yeah. We are meeting all those. I know we're meeting those requirements because I've done similar buildings on bigger scale than this, where we're very similar to those. Like two of them in Kearney Mesa they're actually under construction as we speak. And they're kind of similar, but just bigger scale. And the climate action plan was approved. So I'm confident that won't be a problem.
And then sorry, one more, and I promise I'll give it alley access, that's for dirt alley. Are you proposing any improvements there?
Right now, I didn't think so. We were proposing we could pave that. I was actually going to let the city tell me that I had to pave it.
I think, yeah, the community, the unpaved alleys have been a little heartburn for us, so.
Okay.
If that is.
I mean, it's not fortunately, since we're close to that corner, it's not a huge, I don't want to spend Poe's money without, unnecessarily. But that's something I was going to have a discussion with I'm going to bring that up when we talk to the city, because they may require that. I mean, because I know obviously on the Adams Avenue where we have to obviously improve all the improvements there. There won't be a curb cut there like there is now. It's going to just be a curb, and then the landscaping, and then the path through, which is not sure how the concrete's going to work yet. If we do enhanced, I don't know that we'll do enhanced paving or if it's just going to be concrete. That's to be determined. But I'm thinking on a thing like this, typically it's kind of small. So I think, plus as you guys can see, there's a lot going on in this building. I think I kind of wanted to stick with regular concrete because there's too much. when you get too much going on, they fight for importance. And that's not good design, so.
I'm gonna have Parker give Emily a courtesy bell. And I'm gonna sit up and go to Rainey next. She has her hand up. Don't be surprised if she comes out loud on that owl.
I'm stuck right next to it too.
Go ahead, Rainey.
I'm not sure how to take that, Paul, but I love you for it.
It's just the volume of the speaker at our end. We can hear you loud and clear.
That and I'm
Gotcha.
literally a foot and a half away.
Okay. So I heard you say you were only going to take about 3 feet out. I just want to make sure, because other architects have been surprised by what normal heights is geologically. We have a lot of clay, and I want to make sure that you're aware of that before you start building, because like I said, others have had very difficult time with it.
Sorry, go ahead.
Well, that was just a comment for you just to be aware, because like I said, other people haven't. What my question was, I was trying to see about your bathroom doors. It looked to me like they were going inward towards the bathroom.
Actually, well, it depends on which one. In the 1-bedroom units, I know this, I don't think it's up on the screen, but they're actually pocket doors into
Okay.
the bathroom. And
Okay.
then in the 2-bedroom unit where the one they do go into the one I'm calling the master suite has, like, you walk in and then if you go to the one side, there's a shower and a sink, and then there's a separate toilet room with a door, and then the other one just has an entrance into it. And as long as we don't, I think we're okay with the ADA there. But that's, are you concerned about ADA accessibility or
No,
accessibility?
I'm concerned with, this has been a long time problem with me and American builders, is that my uncle was a doctor, and he said that a lot of the times when there are accidents within a home, it's within the bathroom, and to get the door open makes it very difficult if the door's open in. So it's something to consider. The other thing I have a problem with American builders is in other parts of the world, you'll see that they put a drain in the bathroom outside of the shower or tub, because obviously that would be helpful to if something overflowed, or if there was a pipe that burst or something like that. So just another thought for bathrooms that not a lot of architects think of.
Well, just to the drain issue, a lot of times, if you've ever been into a hotel and you've stayed in an accessible room, we have what we call a roll-in shower, where the whole room, and then it's like level tile, then it slopes down to the drain.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's because you have an accessible shower where you have to. I think in a sink, like even in these bathrooms, because they're single, it's use in there. I think we probably won't need a drain outside of the shower, or we have one like in the 2-bedroom units is the only place we have a tub, like a tub and shower, and then the other one's just a shower, where it's going to be well, actually, I haven't decided yet, probably just going to be tiled shower, where the shower has like a 3-inch curb. Whether we do doors on a shower or whatever we do is to be determined, but I don't think there's really not a need to put a separate drain in there.
Yeah, it's just personal preference. I think it's helpful, but I understand that other people don't see the benefit.
Oh, and to address your first question, which
Yes.
we do have, obviously our civil engineer has done a soils report on the building, or a soils report out there. And the allowable bearing loads it's required by to get a building permit, we'll have to have the soils report. That way the structural engineer can determine the footing requirements for this. Because the concrete perimeter is going to be on separate footings, and the first floor will be slab on grade. So he has to have the bearing capacity of the soil. And if it's, obviously clay is not the best bearing. So hopefully we won't have to do too much, if any, soil remediation. I hope not, but that's for the geotech and the structural engineer. to determine that. And, and as far as the removal of soil for the garage, I had said 3 feet. I think that's actually going to be more than is required. I have to look at the grading again. I don't have that on top of my head, but I believe it's only going to be probably at most 2 to 2.5 feet of removal of soil. And so I don't think it's not going to be a ton to remove, but that again, when I work with the civil engineer on the grading, I'll have a better answer for you. If you wanted like cubic yardage of removal, I can get that for you.
Nope, I just wanted to warn you before you fell into the trap that other people around here have.
Yeah, we have taken it into consideration, but I don't have it totally resolved yet. As I said earlier, I need to get the design and the guts of the building completed first.
We have one more question from the room.
Yeah. You guys have a pretty flat rooftop. Have you considered doing a like green roof? Because I know you only need about like 2 to 5 like inches of soil to put like drought tolerant plants on top of it. And I don't know how that fits into the climate action plan.
So the question for those on Zoom, if you didn't hear, was about using a green roof.
I know, we really never considered doing that. It's possible in here, but it would only be a portion of it, because I know it's not shown here, but a portion of this roof is going to be where the condensing units are for the mechanical system up here. And, but I don't think that's an expense that we have to discuss, because obviously that involves additional waterproofing, maintenance, and a lot of that's something that that'd be a nice perk, no argument. But I don't think that's not in the plan right now.
Yes. Oh,
Thanks for building more housing in the neighborhood. We really need it for the housing crisis.
There
was something from mid-city plan update where 2 units were built in Normal Heights in the last 20 years.
20, really?
There was a dispute at least.
Wow.
But, like you're going to build more units per year. Sorry, in one project, and this per year. So I'm grateful that you're building these units. I like the mixed use aspect. So the cost of motorized parking, I know these are market rate units, but it feels like that cost is going to get passed on to folks. So I want to give you details on that. But if you're thinking about things like bike parking or ways to reduce that cost that gets passed on to renters, and then also it sounds like this planning group is going to decide whether you get those 4 extra units. This planning group's pretty good, but I think other planning groups where they really can delay things when their approval is required. So I would just keep the complete communities option in your back pocket, right? Because you have to do maybe 1 or 2 affordable units. I don't know the details, but that would give you the option to not have to get approval. I think most folks who are pretty open-minded, but just saying that might be something to consider. So the last question would be, again, any bike parking plan for business?
Yes, actually, I have in the garage a bike room. It's also a Cal Green requirement as well.
Maybe a climate action plan requirement.
So there is, it's based on the number of units, and it's not very big, but but there is a bike room in there. It's next to the electrical room. The complete communities and affordable housing we have discussed. It's not, I won't say it's off the table, but that's not the intent. Obviously, one of those things is for parking. I mean, that's a heck of an amenity in a densely populated neighborhood, and by rule, we technically don't have to provide it. And he's spending these things. I mean, this 2-tier thing. I mean, it's the fully automated is very, very expensive. This is semi-automated, and that's still a decent chunk of change that he is pumping there. So, and he's going to get a return on his investment, of course. But to what those rates for these units are is to be determined. But I mean, I understand how, it's going to get passed. But hey, I mean, people who want to come in here and have their own parking space and not have to park half a mile away, it's a perk. That's the best I can answer that right now.
Sure. The room's starting to heat up, so I'm gonna ask one question on parking, and then we'll go to Francis.
Wow.
And Zigzag and Edie. And okay, so you guys can help me keep that in mind in the order. My question on the parking, I get what's inside the building, but you mentioned removing the curb cut. And I know that the Huffman Builds removed a lot of public parking and pulled that parking onto private property. Are you actually giving back public parking by removing the curb cut?
It's it would be temporary. It would actually be like a loading zone. For like when people move in and out, it would be the loading zone.
Okay.
And we're gonna have to have that as well. And that's why it's gonna be designated as a load, like a 15-minute loading zone.
Okay.
The city of San Diego is gonna determine exactly where that has to be.
Got it. Okay, so it's rendered back to the city.
Technically, yes.
Okay. Yes, Francis. What? We're gonna crisscross. Yeah.
Why you wanted to increase the number of units from 14?
Might defer to you. Why are we going from 14 to 18 units? And the market's there.
Obviously, trying to maximize my unit if possible for the community. And the other thing is like Greg mentioned earlier, the 2 bedrooms are over 900 square feet, and the 1 bedrooms are anywhere from 600, about 600 to over 650.
They're between the smaller ones are like 640 up to like 675. They're good sized units.
There's a lot of space.
So is that like, I don't understand how that connects with increasing the number of units.
I mean, increase number of units just maximize the unit count. I mean, but we're not maximizing units to just, you know, there's a lot of development out there. The units are 300, 400 square feet. They're tiny, but these are legitimately good sized units that I think it's that people would like.
So you're saying that in order to have a bigger unit, you need to have more. Is that what you're saying?
All right.
No, I don't think that's the answer. Basically what's going on is investing something we're maximizing what we can do on the site and what he is providing instead of providing because if I did smaller units, I could probably gotten like 25 in there. Units in there and just make them all smaller. But
we don't want to go the complete community route because complete community allows me to do a lot more. And more is not better. But my thought is economical, and also I want to make sure my tenant has parking. So that's why I wanted to make sure that we worked on parking for over 6 months. We're trying to figure out how to get more parking in there. We try to configure a different configuration, linear, stack or whatever. Anyway, but this was the best economical part for me, also for the tenant, and so. Yep. To simply answer your question, it's just maximizing the state.
Yeah. About the building. I'd like you to comment on how you see the building reflecting or in any way connecting with the architecture of I think it's a great building downtown. I'd like to hear your thoughts on how you think it integrates into the vernacular.
A lot of the buildings around here, most of them, they're all very eclectic. You drive down the street, it's not like a community in the suburbs where it's 5 houses, repeated every time. A lot of the houses here, it is plaster. Like a lot of the houses, the finish is mostly plaster, but it's highlighted with metal and some glass. And I think it works. It's like an upgrade, but it's not, I tried to make it like a nice apartment building, but not, I didn't want it to be like a stand out, like, hey, look at me type of. So I think it fits in. It's not overpowering. It doesn't have you can't really see the roof, like for the example, the roof in this neighborhood, there's some of them we have hip and gable roofs, and then there's parapets, there's, flat roof with parapets, there's all kinds. It's a very eclectic neighborhood. This is an eclectic, this building kind of takes a little bit of that in to a lot of it. It's, there doesn't seem to really be a defined style. I mean, there is the Spanish Adobe look, a lot of that. But that would work great if this was maybe a 2-story building. But I think in a 4-story building, it was really never done. And I don't think that would work as a design. Would look fake. That's why I kept kind of the material quality as to what we have here, and then kind of enhanced it to make it a nice building. And then I didn't want to go as funky as the one across the street, but I think it'll fit in. It is the only thing that is a little bit, I won't say off, but it's different, is the buildings immediately left and right of it are single story. But same thing with the one across the street, but then, catty corner is the big grocery store.
Open space within the building, it's not a big, huge.
True, but it's also a bigger lot. But okay.
Yes.
The equipment and appliances, are you thinking on electric?
They have to be.
So there will be no gas.
Unless we have to, there might be, the only gas might be for the mechanical units. Gas force heating is far more efficient. So it'll probably be, the mechanical units will probably be gas fed, but the appliances, California requirement, they have to be electric.
Are you going to be looking a bit more into it as far as you being on electric?
Yes, when we get there, one of the things I plan to do is, I'm not there yet, is when we get this going, part of the next set of design are the units themselves. Now, I think the layouts work very well, but we have to design the cabinetry. What are the finishes, the floor wall finishes, the lighting, and then the cabinetry, and then the appliance packages. And Poe and I are going to work together with a supplier and to decide.
I think the bottom line
is exactly, yeah, but they're going to be electric because it's going to be required by the city.
Right, I'm maybe thinking about mechanical systems.
State actually.
Those kind of things. But because of the appliances, it's very easy to be on electric. When I'm talking about the rest of the building itself.
Oh, well, the only, as I said, the only thing I believe that'll be gas fed will be the mechanical units, because that's what's done. They don't have to be, but it's a lot more efficient if we put in, because I mean, considering let's say we get the 18 units, 18 condensers, that's not a lot of, that's just a very small gas load, because gas is so much more efficient, and just one gas line, probably one 3/4 or probably a 3/4 inch gas line coming into the building, go up to the roof, feed the units, and then you're done. With whatever SDG&E, and then.
Yes. Edie.
Question, so I know Paul was here for the representative of ownership, what is the legal form of the building going to be?
The legal what?
The legal owner, I guess it's Poe is the owner, but do you have an LLC for it, or?
It'll be an LLC.
You form an LLC yet?
We have it, yeah, I mean, the property's in LLC right now.
Oh.
But we don't know if we're gonna spin it out into a new LLC by, entity by itself.
And who would be doing the construction? Who would be doing the construction?
I don't know yet.
Would you be forming an LLC, or would it be a related entity?
It will be a construction company, I mean, the LLC will be, I don't know, I haven't gotten that far yet. So I don't know who's gonna keep it in, we'll have to see the economics before I do that.
Is the plan to keep it, or is the plan to?
No, we keep it. No, we pretty much, all the property we have owned for over 20 years, we don't saw a property very often.
And will there be a RAC policy requirement for the construction company?
Sorry?
Construction company be required to take out a RAC policy?
Rent policy?
A wrap policy?
RAC policy for tax.
I'm not familiar with.
Well, the contractor will have, I mean, whoever the contractor has to have a they have to be licensed, bonded, and insured. And then all their work will have to be guaranteed, whatever we specify, be guaranteed minimum of a year. The work has to be guaranteed for a minimum of a year. That's.
RAC. So the problem I've seen is I've seen people come in and they form LLCs and then they form construction companies under different names. And then
Yes.
they build these.
We're getting sued.
And then they sell them off to somebody and then there's problems with them and there's no RAC policy and there's no construction company and it goes anymore.
So basically, yeah, it's a way around getting sued. But as Poe mentioned a few minutes ago, it's their company plans on keeping it. I mean, they don't have an intention of selling it. It's just the LLC is what you would typically do in this case as far as ownership. And
Huh?
You're not the sole owner?
I am the sole.
You are, okay.
The LLC
LLC.
is the owner and the LLC is my brother and myself.
Well, then, that makes you, that will make you a business owner in Normal Heights, which would make you eligible to sit on this board. It's a requirement, it's an invitation.
if you'd like.
Yeah, her safety person here, and she brought up about the water from way back in the 80s. They did a study and found that, you know, there's water pressure, if there's ever a wildfire, they actually put fires out for us. So, what, if anything, have you done to study that impact of having an additional 18 units for people?
I've not addressed that. I was not aware of that, but I do know the California fire code is very, very stringent. The fire protection system of this building is going to be, I don't know if I probably have to do an I don't know, I may have to do an AMMR in this building too, which is an alternate materials and methods, meaning enhanced fire protection of building. As far as the water supply, that's gonna honestly, that's gonna be between the civil engineer. The civil engineer is gonna handle that, and then my fire protection consultant, who the guy I plan to use for fire protection, he's one of the best in the state. In fact, he writes a portion of the code. So he's a friend of mine. He knows about everything about fire protection. So, but to answer that question, I don't actually have an answer for you right now, but I do know, I can understand how that is a concern, because if we're close to the limit already, and then it's.
Yes, we get the water from the city,
Mhm.
and if within the building, the pressure needs to be increased, I'm sure something will be installed to address that.
Yeah, the city will make us do, that would be an improvement that the city would make us do. If it's the load is too great and we have to upgrade it, that's something the city will require for under the conditions of approval of the conditional use permit.
City, yeah, we will. Actually, the public utilities department is one of the toughest to get.
Yeah.
I think we want to bring this back to the next.
Question, I just wanted to ask,
Yeah, you get one more, and then Parker, anyways.
where would the trucks and everything be stayed?
I'm working on a project right now where the whole site is the building like this one. Fortunately, what's gonna happen, fortunately, we're not gonna have to dig very far at all. So they're gonna form up the concrete, and then they're gonna bring on site the concrete truck. The concrete trucks will have to be out on Adams Avenue or on the side street, actually Adams Avenue. And then there will be something the contractor is actually responsible for, is traffic control. If you've ever done that, and the civil engineer will do a traffic control study and plan as part of the permit. as part of the grading permit is traffic control. And then when they come in and pour the concrete, which considering only the first floor is concrete, isn't gonna be like an extensive amount of time, but it will be there. And then what they'll have to do for deliveries for construction materials is they're gonna have to stage it on the site and then it can be done. I'm doing it right now downtown where the building is 100 by 100 and the site is 100 by 100 and it's a 17-story building. So it can be done. It's all going to be contained on site, but it's kind of up to the contractor to do that. But it's not like they're going to be throwing stuff in the neighbor's yard. And if that happens, that's something that could be brought to his attention, my attention, and I would do something with the contractor about that one.
Yeah. Contractor that you have and make sure that it's tarped properly when it's going to be.
Part of the conditions of approval from the city is that one of the things that like light pollution, technically in a lot of places, not in an urban area, but in a lot of areas, you're not allowed to have light leave your site, which is impossible, physically impossible, because light goes out in all directions. But part of the conditions of approval, dust control is one of them. Construction debris material is part of that condition, those conditions of approval to get the permit. So in an urban setting like this, on the drawing set, the construction document set that's approved by the city, those conditions of approval will have to be listed, that he will have to provide a dust control. He has to provide tarping or covers where to contain that. So it doesn't, the guy next door isn't cleaning dust off his roof every day. That's required by the city. And if it becomes a problem, they could contact the city and who would come out and either fine him or, hopefully, God forbid, to shut him down. But I've never seen that happen before. But that would be an extreme case. But that's all part of what is required by the city.
Yes, I was wondering, why we decided not to pursue any affordable units in the property. And then also what would inspire you to include affordable units?
Part of the affordable part of the is adding 3 additional units, and we were considering 3 units, the studio, where it would be more affordable.
So would it be market studios or would it be like affordable price?
I don't know. I don't determine
That right now I think to kind of answer, we have there's 3 studios in the building and they will be obviously less expensive than the other units, but are they in the quote affordable housing? Whereas, with the city, as of right now, they're not. I think we're doing market rate right now just because he's investing in a lot of, I'm please correct me if I'm wrong. This is a pretty sizable investment that we're doing in this community and it's needed. And we're making I think it's going to be a very positive impact. And could you do, but the things with affordable housing, I would have to check the ratios, but we might have to actually, I don't know what the ratio is for requirements. If we had 18 units, we might have to.
Well, that's where the additional unit, the studio comes in. It's more affordable.
So do we think affordable and move fees because there is an inclusion?
We have to pay the diff fees.
No, if you don't provide your affordable housing on site, then
Even if you're not in one of the bonus programs?
it's citywide, yeah.
It's a city requirement.
Okay.
Which, the soft costs on a project like this are pretty high, because I don't know if you don't know what a diff is, it's a development impact fee. And it's per unit, and it's about $15,000 a unit, I think. Is it that much, the diffs? And that money goes to the community, or it's supposed to. What the city does with it, I don't have any control over, but it's
a larger discussion.
It's a lot of money over and above the soft costs of building this building, and then the building itself, it's, that money, again, is supposed to go back to the community. What City of San Diego does with it, again, I don't know, but
Yeah.
So, I mean, we're talking, you figure if it's 20 grand times 18, that's 400 and almost $400,000. What? $360,000. He's better at math than me, I guess. He's an engineer. So, so that, I mean, that's a lot of money, right, going back to the community right there.
So we'll probably be interested in knowing more about the pricing structure of the units themselves as you get closer to that.
Yeah, we don't have that right now. Go ahead.
Project to make it like a great place to live and a great place in the community. And I have not invested in real estate, so I can't speak to your family investment. But I will just say that I think that affordable housing is really important in this community and just in general. And the housing that we build affects who's going to be able to live here. I think equity in the neighborhood is important. And so I would encourage you in whatever way is feasible in your project to try to include affordable units, whether that's right away or like a few years down the line when people have to.
Yeah, I'm trying to maximize units, I'm trying to, and the maximizing the additional units are pretty much all studio, and that is also the wrong way to keep the cost down. Not the cost of the unit.
The rent down.
And so I don't call it affordable units, but it's much bigger than the regular bedroom.
I understand what you're saying, that they're gonna be cheaper. But a market rate studio apartment is different than like an affordable apartment. Like studio apartments are still cheaper. But in terms of like, you know, a family being able to live there, a family can't fit into a studio apartment. People live with roommates, so of course a studio apartment is cheaper, but it's not necessarily the same thing as having an affordably priced unit. But
yeah, no, I mean, that's all under consideration. Again, I mean, the studio is not tiny like many of these developments, 300 square feet, 200 square feet. This studio is over 400.
It's 450. They're each 450 square feet.
500. It's almost like it's basically someone else's one bed. So, but in any case, price structure I do not know yet, and I can call it affordable housing. I don't know that terminology well because of the price range and all that, so that's why I don't use it now.
Sure. No, I think it sounds like because you have a mix of units that you'll be able to scale based on amenities. So if you have a balcony, you pay a little more. If you don't have a balcony, you pay less. So I can see that you have like a scaled structure.
Size of the unit too.
Is the parking going to be a la carte? So if I wanted to rent a studio, I could say, well, I live in a walkable neighborhood, I have a bicycle, I don't want the parking at all. Could you opt out?
Yeah. So this, like I said, there's 15 parking space, 15 plus 1. But the 15 parking space is dedicated to people who with 1 bedroom or 2 bedroom.
Okay. And then I guess the other question I have is on the one ADA space that you're required to have.
Okay.
If no one needs it in the building, can it be leased to someone else?
That's against me.
Not legally.
Legally, I cannot change that. Legally, I can change that, but I'm not gonna play a game with the city.
Yeah. Okay.
That's one van accessible space is required, and that has to be designated as
I
a
see.
van.
Okay, so you typically in a typical building, you would see a van space and it might
Must
empty.
be a van accessible space. That's it has to, well, it's an ADA space, but if you only have one, it has to be van accessible.
Even if Even it's available, I cannot rent it.
You can't, yeah, you can't rent it.
Oh, I cannot give it out, say this is your space. It's illegal. And
Gotcha.
I'm not gonna play back in.
I'm gonna take a quick pass on the Zoom, because I think, Madison and Jim, you had some comments in the chat that might make, for a question.
I've been waiting to, I'll take a question.
Oh, sure. Okay, well. So Madison and Jim, did you have anything you wanted to ask? Otherwise, we will move on to Jacob.
I think most of my questions were addressed. I was wondering about, so it's 16 units and it's market rate rent.
18, actually.
18, sorry.
Okay.
And then I was curious about the elevation in relation to the surrounding buildings. So it would be right next to Bika, which is single story, and I think you said the other neighboring building was single, but across the street is I think is it 3-story apartment and 4? Okay.
Yeah,
So
that building across the street is right at,
would it
I
be
don't
of
know,
the equivalent height as that building?
pretty much, because the 50-foot height limit in this zone, in the CU33 zone, 50 foot is maximum, unless you get a variance or you're doing the affordable housing development when you get an incentive, but we're not doing that. So we are under the allowable story within both the planning and building construction codes. We are within that. And I know, and like I said, I don't believe this is gonna, like, for example, it's not gonna just tower over and everything. It's gonna, it'll fit in. That's why I chose the materials I did. It's gonna, obviously, the 13-foot high first floor with all the glass, I think is definitely gonna stand out, but that's also required by city planning. I mean, you have to provide 13 feet minimum. I don't know if you know that, but and then it's retail, so obviously the retail guys want their presence known. And I think it's gonna help the walkability of the neighborhood. People are gonna come there and just, walk down the street, and I think it's gonna be go ahead.
Because of what?
It's a walkable, Adams Avenue, it's a pretty major thoroughfare.
How's it gonna make it more?
Oh, I don't know. It's not, I guess maybe not more walkable. I think it's just gonna be as you're walking the street, whatever tenant is there, it's gonna be, I think it'll be used by, instead of, I think it'll just, yeah, and then that's why I wanted to do that's why the original, I don't know if you remember, but on the original, it's kind of the pathway through with landscape on the other side. Like a shopping mall, if that makes sense.
Good. So I have a question, and if I have like just 90 seconds, I feel like I could just make some statements. Is that okay? Just so I could be on the record for this.
Sure,
meeting.
sure.
So my only question.
Paul, you can share some of our comments in the chat as well, with the team. I know they were looking for comments. I would share the comments in the chat as well with Paul and his team, the owner. Thank you.
I'll read those off after Jacob.
So my only actual question is, the motive of this presentation. So you're here to basically introduce us to this project. And there's two things you're looking for from us regarding 4 extra units, and what was the other one? The only reason you have to even present is because 4 additional units.
There's 4 additional units.
The other thing.
And I wanted, like you said, introduce you and whoever's on Zoom to the community, to the project, to the community, and because you will have to provide, part of the requirement will be the community input.
Yeah.
And that will have to be, and I wanted, instead of just, hey, guess what? There's a building here. You have any comments on it? I wanted to give you guys a chance to.
So just that.
The main one.
For approval, in this case, would approve an additional use permit as a discretionary action triggers it. They would to be here to present to us,
Right.
and the additional units, they don't have.
Okay.
This is only
It's more of we're being proactive is a good way to state it, I think.
I swear, this would be like 90 seconds. I know that these can sound confrontational, but I promise you they're not. They're objective, and I just want to read them. Investing in the community, Question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark. I don't understand it. Is it going to literally tower everything? You said it's not going to literally tower everything. Yes, it is. It's going to literally tower everything. You said that. I'm just making statements. I don't have any questions. I just.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Statement for the record. When asked by board members how you can make it more, fit into our neighborhood, you say if we use those materials, it will look fake. And in my opinion, this building looks fake. And you said this would be an upgrade. And I think that's. We got over the last year. Normal heights. Why the additional units? I'm still not getting that. I'm just saying profit over people. The building does not fit area. It has zero historical qualities. It seems like the way you present it is like you're willing to do things you don't have to in order to get things that you kind of have to get permission for, I don't know, or approval for. You say that the city wants more units, it's going to be no problem. But normal heights is, this is normal heights, and normal heights just wants the rules to be followed. Buildings like this are the beginning of the end of normal height charm. And your comments have made it perfectly clear that you're both the architect and the owner, that you're concerned with yourselves and not this community. And I just don't see it, the investment. And I just. This, 99 is easy. I wanted to make these statements to see it, so you guys know it. It's very obvious you don't know anything about the neighborhood, and you're presenting this in a way that. Response, or just making a statement. I actually don't want a response. Just making a statement.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Later, read some of the comments in the chat, and I think the questions were okay. Well, there was a previous project along at where the ska bar is that looked in. They were going to do the stacked car parking, but they did not, and so. That's been some time past. Is there new technologies that's making this possible now?
Obviously there are. Because of that, the cost per space has gone down. I mean, the amount of money he's willing to invest in that part to provide the parking that isn't, crowding the streets is significant, but I mean, it's. Just bait and switch.
Do something and then force people to go figure out what they have to do after. So the no parking is important. That's why I'm incorporating. But I'm trying to incorporate as many parking within the building.
I think the next question is: are there going to be solar panels?
What?
Solar panels?
I can answer that.
That's not in the plan, but that can be considered.
The roof has to be, a portion of the roof will be designated for future solar. That is required by code, as are places on the electrical switchgear. We have to provide a portion of that where future solar can be installed. That is required by the state of California.
So I'm scanning through these. Top. And and I'm just seeing Fatima, are you still on?
Yes, I am.
I
You're cutting up, Paul. I'm
we were
sorry.
gonna do a 10-minute break. yeah, if you have to jump off, then we could come to you on, after the 10-minute break.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay, thanks. Then at this time, let's take a 10-minute break and that'll give us an opportunity to see the plans and then we'll take some more Q&A. Great.
Parliamentary, just remember, they continued 10 minutes here and be a part of that conversation.
I will ask.
I'm gonna go switch on the.
Hey, how are you?
Hey.
I'm an architect also.
Oh, are you?
Yeah, we had some problem in National City for a multi-story building, very similar to this one, because of the charging station in the parking, because of accessibility. So the was required was wider than the standard parking. So you might want to keep that in mind.
The way I talked, I know this is obviously part of the, when you provide parking, you have to provide, not just the accessible, but you have to provide, electrical charging stations, or actually what you have to provide is, again, it's like the solar. Eventually may, but what we plan on, that automated system has electrical charging ability.
Yes, well, that's what we did all of this, but all we had to show the future charging station.
Yeah, oh, I have to define it.
That's right, and then I think for that, we need to show a handicapped charging station on top of the ADA. So it's
I'm gonna have to look into that.
look into that because we had to redesign, so we had a plan approved. And because the owner wants to stop for like 2 years, we started the project, and then again, and then those comments came up. So I just want to.
No, I appreciate the input. I'm always looking for the input because the apartment buildings that I did, well, they didn't have this much bigger scale, it's a much bigger lot.
Yeah, right.
Where we had the room in. Space, and what we can do for that accessible space is, if it's required, we'll put the charging station there.
Yeah, that's what we did too, but also we need. I
appreciate the input.
And you know, and this is good because you get some comments, but I'm very happy that you built this.
No, I love it. I love inputs from other architects too.
So, okay, well.
Great, thanks again.
Good luck.
What was your name again?
Jean-Louis for JLC Architecture. JLC Architecture.
Okay.
I was in Southern Beach. I'm retiring.
Oh, are you, were you like was your firm?
That was my firm.
I used to work, familiar with Terry Johnson?
Yes.
I used to work for them for a while. And those are the apartment buildings I did. Now I do on the side, this is me now.
Okay.
But I also work for a contractor too. So I build hotels.
Sure. Yeah.
So anyway,
Okay.
but just no, I'm glad to meet you. That's good. So, but any other questions, please feel free to contact me. I'd love to hear from you.
Well, you know, I'm here, not on every meeting, but I might see you.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Thanks again.
Thank you.
See you. And this, I can stand up. Like this much. I didn't agree with this. Wait, what the hell do you want? Already need her to get really. Have a bone. Ow.
One of my
Very much.
That's why we. And then the other way, I mean, if I have to go back and do this.
Yeah. So I guess the civil engineer. I don't know what the play is not. We might have to do this on, what do we do, on caissons or just wider. I don't know. Yeah, it's gonna depend on what the engineer. I don't know. I have to. The soils report governs that. I mean, to get a permit. It will. I thought it's very. I mean, they have. But that's. This is very. Yes. I don't. You guys spoke at the exact same time. I didn't hear you.
Actually, is a vibe here, the style. There are some buildings that don't, and we don't want more of those, I don't think.
I agree, but I don't see this as a, like, first of all, I very much disagree with. This first one is about when you said a mistake. I don't know what you think about it. It is not the same as all the other buildings normalized. Most of them are still short. However, the things we are.
I don't know how to answer. But
I mean, like any building we do, the next. If you, I don't know if you know how expensive it is, building in California, it's well, and then ignoring the architects, engineering fees, you got the soil report, and then, like I said, he's gonna stay. It's. And then because it's California, the structure of this building is pretty strong. Because it's library. And after well, in 93 or 4, when they had the Northridge earthquake, that changed the entire building code. I mean, the whole building code changed. Steve Layton, the company's called Protection Design and Consulting. He's been doing it for, I don't even know how many before I think and he writes part of it. The guy knows about everything but from Cincinnati. Then I came here. I grew up in Cincinnati. I went to the University of Cincinnati. Then I went to Chicago and lived for most of the time, like right by River Field. And then I bought a condo in the South End. And then after that, I actually went to Washington, New York. That was my biggest client. And then all of a sudden, one day, they were saying, and all of a sudden, one day, they called our company and said, stop, everything stopped. 4 of us had nothing to do. I got laid off. So, and at the time, I didn't have any children. So my wife and I packed the car, sold our condo, and moved out to San Diego. Because at the time, I mean, it was a lot easier to do that. So, and I love San Diego.
What part of?
Now? You are 56s and 556. If you ever get up, it's not that far. Directly. It's yeah, right. Del Mar, I live. Here's the five. This side is Del Mar, this side is Permian. It's basically what it is. Right where the merge happens. Although I know most people I consider when you say North County, to me, that means Encinitas, or the Encinitas, Carlsbad, San Marcos, that's North County to me.
Yeah. Yeah, like. Puts on like all the even all the music shows. Musicians.
That's what I consider. Not Well, San Diego is so spread out.
But I don't have that.
And north of 52. North of the 52. Here it is. I went. Something like that. Yeah. And oh, Chicago pizza's the best. I don't care if you're from New York. Chicago pizza's best.
I think these are pretty good. I'm not good.
Well, here in North, somewhere in North Park, left. Lefties, they're from Chicago.
Yeah. It's pretty good. The beef is dead on. The pizza's close.
But you gotta hit Chicago. Deep dish. Deep dish, heart attack on the way. Oh, it's the best. There, this is obviously this is the dry code and analysis. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, I tried it. It's decent. It's
Yeah,
very
it's-
expensive though, like ridiculously expensive.
You go to Chicago. The only thing in Chicago you need is a defib when you eat it.
We're back and we're gonna take a quick break for Fatima has another community planning group here. So she'll be doing a report from Mayor Todd Boyer's office. You have the floor.
I have
Hi,
a question for you real quick.
Thank you, Paul, for letting me go early. I really appreciate it. Just a few updates here for everyone. I do want to go over a few important dates that are coming up, most primarily to the budget. Please note June 6th, this Friday at 9 a.m., the budget review committee will be meeting to have preliminary discussions about the final budget decision that will be coming on June 10th at 2 p.m. So the IBA report did come out today. So this is the final report on the budget. It will include all the costs that we have seen throughout the last 6 months. I know initially they had did a report on the budget. Those numbers were estimated to have changed. So this report will help obviously our city council make the decisions that they need to make for this upcoming final budget vote. So again, that's June 6th at 9 a.m. for the early preliminary discussions on that, and then June 10th for the final vote. Additionally, I shared with Paul that the ADU package reform was changed to June 16th. It was originally scheduled to be heard June 2nd, but they did make a change to that. So June 16th is the opportunity to go ahead and hear that discussion at City Council. They will be taking a vote. The biggest thing that I do want to flag is that they are looking at a unit cap or count. If you didn't tune into Land Use and Housing Committee, they had a discussion about having a unit cap or count between 4 to 7 units. So that is primarily the thing that we want to be taking a look at. Additionally, we are seeing other amendments and reforms being made specifically to fire code and regulations. So I know that's a huge thing for Normal Heights community, especially our fire safety councils, and making sure that the dwelling units that are going up in our very high fire hazard zones are meeting the requirements that they need to meet. So those are amendments that are moving forward in addition to specific ADU dwelling units in locations where there's cul-de-sacs or where there's only one ingress or egress route as well. So please tune into that. It's really important. I know it matters to Normal Heights a lot. So if you have the opportunity, go ahead and check that out. Additionally, if you didn't tune into the parking reform package that happened on Tuesday, it did pass at council 5-2. So the main things that you want to take away from this is that it is specifically only impacting on-street parking, and we're looking to do dynamic parking. And what that means essentially is that we're able to change parking meters and cost of parking dependent on the hour, time, or day. Specifically, what we want to do is increase parking when there's larger events such as the Padres game, a nearby concert, or festival. You won't see these changes be effective immediately. We are doing a slow rollout of that. We're not just going to change the parking meters on you guys without letting you know. But the earliest that we can expect to see will probably be at the parking meters in downtown near Petco Park, just because Padres season is in. So we want to take advantage of that. again, don't have any specific dates on when that will be rolling out quite yet. We are still working with our teams to make sure that that is a rollout where everyone's informed once that change is effective immediately. The other portion of that parking reform that you will see is the changes to our community parking districts. There is a 15% admin fee that we are decreasing and making sure that it is aligned with the rest of our community groups, such as our bids and our MADs. They all have 15% minimums for the administrative fees. So we're making sure that our community parking districts are aligned with that. Additionally, we are limiting down the scope of what the projects that they present can be. This is allowing us to make sure that we're able to manage the dollars that are being used and put towards things that actually improve our parking districts and not through random projects. Something that we saw in the last few years is that community parking districts were using their funds for things that weren't necessarily supposed to be used on. So we're trying to ensure that that process is obviously streamlined and that we're able to make sure that we can account for every dollar that is being used. So that's something that we'll be also redefining and taking a look at to make sure that we're maximizing all of the dollar revenue that is coming through those parking meters throughout our community. And then lastly, I did want to speak on the South Park ice raid that we recently saw. We were incredibly devastated by that, and we deeply sympathize with the business owners and the employees that were impacted. The mayor did release a statement where he shared that we did share our concerns with Homeland Security Department. Unfortunately, as a city, we can't necessarily take action on that since it is a federal issue, but we did have concerns regarding how the operation was actually played out. We always want to prioritize public safety and our community members as well. The way that this operation played out was not in compliance with that. And we believe that there was a few concerns there with HSI and the way that their operation did go. So he shared those concerns with them, and moving forward, we hope that they're able to conduct their operations in a manner that is for the best of the community and securing public safety as well. So I did want to share that if you want to go ahead and read the statement, it is published out there, and we will continue to make sure that they are in compliance with the law and public safety, and we're not disturbing any other lives or community members. I'm open to take any questions. That does conclude my report.
Sure. I'll go ahead and start. I have a question on the ice raid at South Park. You'd mentioned that that the operation was carried in a manner that was out of compliance. Is the city attorney been looped in on this?
So the city attorney can't necessarily take any actions on that. And I do want to clarify, when I mean out of compliance, it wasn't in a manner that carried out in our idea that was in tune with public safety. We don't believe that there was a need to cause all that disturbance and chaos or the use of, heavy military gear, or to go back on our community members with, I believe that they used specific tactics that were used against the protesters. I'm not completely sure what the names of them were. We just weren't completely in agreement with how that was played out. We think that their operation could have been less disturbing to the community. That's not something that we want to see, and the mayor really wants to emphasize public safety. Obviously, we can't control the federal government, and we have very little influence with those types of operations. But we did express to Homeland Security that if they are going to continue operations in our communities, that it is in a manner where they're not disturbing people, such as going in on a Friday night where, the restaurant was crowded and folks were trying to enjoy their night and just absolutely causing chaos. So that's something that we definitely expressed to them, and we want to make sure that, again, if these are happening, that we are not putting other people at risk and harming others, and that it's done in a manner where if you're doing this operation, you're doing only the work that you need to be doing, right? So that's something that we did want to share with them. But unfortunately, as a city, we can't influence their operations, how they do them.
Okay.
We don't have any information on when they even happen at all.
So just so you know, I did print an abbreviated version of your
Is there any other questions? Sorry, it's a little bit, the internet's a little bit
I think
choppy here.
Yes, hand raised.
Yes, so you had mentioned that you were cognizant, well, the mayor's office was cognizant of the fact that we are in a severe high fire zone. Before these permits have been issued, has the city done any kind of study where they understand that the impact of the community around these structures? We are well aware of the studies that show when you put these dense areas, buildings within these areas, the risk of fire exploding goes up significantly, which then puts at risk other homes that are in the area. So has the city looked into what providing these dense building areas is going to impact the areas around those lots? And I'm speaking specifically on what's going to happen to our insurance rates.
I can't specifically speak for the insurance rate of this portion. I'm not 100% sure if the city has conducted on study on exactly what you're speaking on, but the ADU reform package does address a few of those concerns in terms of the proximity of these type of dwelling units to fire hazard zones or the proximity to other buildings as well. We are doing amendments to the setbacks. So I don't have the specific number on that, but I'm more than happy to share the reforms that are coming forward so that you can read through them. But a lot of them do address the concerns that the community has had in terms of fire codes and fire safety regulations. So we can go through that, Remy, through email, just so I don't have to go through all of those specifics with you right now. But they do address some of those concerns that you mentioned.
Yes, if you can send those to me, I'd appreciate it.
Of course, I'll do that right now.
Thank you.
And for anyone with similar questions, I'll refer you to Susan Redlinks with the Normal Heights Fire Safe Council for all those, any question that in regard to flammability.
Flammability.
Combustible structure.
I think.
The map, so. One follow-up question.
Yes.
About the city attorney, because it felt like that wasn't actually answered. Was the city attorney notified of and involved in this issue with the ICE, and has the governor or the state attorney been involved? Because virtually the only recourse with the federal government would be through some sort of legal action to prevent this from happening in the future and to prevent other people that may not even be on target for detention, being, zip tied with their hands and feet like some of these employees there.
I got part of the question regarding was the city attorney is going to be involved in
Yeah, I'll go ahead and repeat the question for you. Basically, it has the different levels of government and their legal representatives been notified and included for resolving issues at the federal level.
So I do know that there was a press release that was made on Monday with a few of your federal representatives for this county and area. I do know that some have made statements about doing or asking to conduct an investigation on how the operation did actually play out. So I would reach out to your state and federal reps to see what their actual actions are going to be. Like I said, the press release was released, so if you want to watch it, that's available to you. I believe ABC News put one out as well. They were there. A lot of news media outlets were present, and they were doing interviews with your federal and state reps there. So those are great resources. If not, go directly to your reps for those questions. Our city attorney won't be getting involved on this matter since, again, it is a federal issue, and at the city level, we can't influence or have a say in that. But like we said, we have had conversations with Homeland Security, letting them know that we have concerns about how they did actually do that operation in our community.
Sure, we'll take it up with Sir Jacobs. Yes.
I don't really know how this works. So you were saying for the budget, June 6th is like the early preliminary vote. The 10th is the final vote. So is that an opportunity to propose changes to the mayor's budget and the cuts that are being proposed to?
Yeah, so there will be
Right.
opportunity. There will be opportunity for public comment. I will say that the council members have released their memos for the most part, or will be releasing their memos for the most part this week. So that's the place where you'll also get to see what their priorities for the May revise will be. But again, it's still up until the 10th. You have opportunity to provide your public comment to do so. But the IBA report and those memos will be coming out very shortly. So you have somewhat of a preliminary idea of what to expect on June 10th. Same thing with June 6th, they'll be discussing all of that information coming out.
And just a quick reminder, I want to make sure this is correct. They have, people have until June 9th to turn in their protests to the trash fees if they oppose those.
Okay.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Well, thank you. We will, we'll move on and then we'll catch up some time here. I think we'll do another, maybe a 10-minute round of questions if we fill that. Otherwise,
I have one quick one for you.
Yes.
What is Fatima's role?
Oh, she is the community outreach person for Mayor Todd Gloria.
Okay.
So fortunately, we have CPG meetings all over town on the same night.
Oh,
So,
okay.
make
I just, she sounds, obviously she had I knew she had some, a role with the city. I just wanted, curious what that was.
So do we have any more questions from our break period and the close-ups of the printed material? Yes.
What is your buildings that line from the line?
Building setback is 10 feet. I've got them right here. I'm certain that's what it is. I'm just double checking myself. Yeah, from streets 10 feet, from the rear is 10 feet. And then the side yards are actually optional. You don't even have to provide them. But as I mentioned, that's why any opening and
The way we are proposing within the other country, the parkway, the width from basic curve to building.
does not extend all the way to the curb. I don't think, but
Parkway width as in where the landscaping and sidewalk.
okay. Well, there's going to be the new curb, and then landscaping. Then about it, I'm seeing like an 8 to 10 foot stretch of pavement. Probably going to be, as I mentioned earlier, concrete, and then another. I don't have exact numbers of landscape of planting, and then the building, because as I said, the property line is actually set back from the street itself. I don't have those exact dimensions, but it's not going like right up the street. There is a, yeah, and the city, well, on top of that, whatever we do in the front is the city may demand certain things, and I don't, she's not here, but I have there will be a landscape architect who's going to specify the planting and work on the design of it. It's not there yet, but that's, she's done some impressive work so far. I can show it to you. It's around, and it's all here in San Diego if you want to see it. So, yeah. Yes.
I think mine is just really quick, some suggestions, just as you move for your plants up the middle. Definitely look into the inclusionary house ordinance. You will need to meet it one way or the other. Also recommend just, making sure you hit all your tax consistent regulations as well. Those are a little tough to get in there once you've already designed. I'm not sure if the CUP is the appropriate permit. I know at this time you're not looking for a recommendation, but I will be curious to see or understand that.
We actually were within our density, and this is a process 3 review.
So process 3 CUP,
it's a process 3 for it's basically at the staff level review for approval. It doesn't have to go to the planning commission or anything.
Yeah, process 3.
Correct.
Okay, and then just please note too that parking is required to be unbundled in the TPA, so you can't assign parking to the units. Not clear about this.
Has to just be.
They can't come with the unit.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
Like
if it was a condo, you could deed it, but I don't. But that's not the case here.
Yeah.
But thank you for coming. I mean, you're not required to be here, so I think I really appreciate you taking the time.
Yeah,
I like the input.
Alan's been holding his questions since before the break.
All my questions have actually already been answered. I just wanted to make, a couple comments. Our role as the planning group, when we actually get the request for a recommendation, is to see if the proposal is consistent with the community plan and the general plan. And the community plan identifies Adams as a location for mixed use, mid-density. That's, looks to be exactly what you're putting together.
That, I didn't just blindly do that. I did some research here.
So
But thank
I
you.
just wanted to mention that, and I'm
That's a
gonna,
very good point.
I'm gonna throw out the elephant in the room called the Mars Project.
Yeah.
Is that the building across the street?
No, it was a proposed building where the Millie's is.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, I confused you, go ahead. Yeah.
And I recall very distinctly so many people lining up and saying, I can't support this, but I would support. And pretty much everything that they said they would support, it sounds like what you have in your plan.
Excellent, I appreciate that.
Hopefully, they remain consistent, yeah, along those lines. And for me personally, I love the idea that you're including 2-bed, 2-bathroom units. Those are at a premium in this neighborhood.
That's part of our unit mix. It's not just all, what we wanted to have a mix of units. That's why we got studios, 1-bedrooms, and then the 2-bedroom units, which are premium. Very nice too, I think.
Well, thank you for coming.
Thank you, sir, for having us. Thank you. Any questions? You could send them to Paul or, and I'll be happy to answer them, or.
We'll leave the one pack.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
And then, so.
Okay.
My only,
people can review it.
Yeah, we can make that available at the local pub.
I only have one comment.
Yes.
You gotta get rid of that shirt.
That was a mistake, I know it, because I went to a party and I thought, okay, eeny, meeny, miny, mo, which team? I have to look better in red than most
Okay.
others.
Then it's, all right.
Okay.
Point
Okay.
taken. Points.
From morning to night with this shirt on. It's the situation.
Yeah,
I have no connection with the.
My apologies.
Yeah. just leave them, but- We can do that, yeah. Yeah, I can expand, we'll put
I
a
could,
page up.
I could also send you a PDF.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
You can have.
Yeah, actually, you just sent me the PDF, it just hasn't.
Well, yeah, I already sent it to you. That's why it was up on the screen.
We'll include that on the minutes page on the website. Great, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
We'll move on to approval of the May minutes.
I make a motion.
And a second. And we'll take it to a vote. All in favor of passing approval of the May minutes, I think, and then do we have any nays? And then we have abstains. I will check into that. You probably, I need to add you onto the Google group list. Okay, then those are approved. If we need to fill any empty seats on the board, this was Jacob's last meeting. And so we have an opening, and I believe we have an applicant. There you are. Yes, thank you. I think we have the option to vote in a board appointed seat for the remainder of the term for that seat. So please tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, I'm Sarah. I live on Felton Street. I lived there for like 2 years, but yeah, and I'm from San Diego. I'm from like Spring Valley Mesa area. And basically I just really want to help in any small way I can, like help the community. I love it.
Like, really, I have everything else. Well, everyone's so nice here and like this. There's nothing in here.
Okay. Any questions from the board? All right, then, do we have a motion to, have a seat? I'm sorry, say your name again.
Sierra Orsinelli.
Sierra, right. Do we have a motion to put Sierra on the board? And a second? All right. Then we, take it to a vote, and I believe it's just an open hand raised vote, right? All right, so all in favor? That looks pretty unanimous to me. Welcome. Yeah, next meeting will be your first. I believe I have your email address, so I can get you onto the loop for the way we distribute our email, just so that everyone in the room knows when the board emails each other, we do it through Google Groups, so that it's recorded in serially at Google. And then if anyone wants a public records request from us, they can read the whole thread. It's publicly available. And that's for our Brown Act compliance, which takes me to our next item. We have a Brown Act they just did the live version, and Nancy and Mark attended the live version. So you too?
Yeah.
Paul,
Yeah.
Paul, just one second. I don't know if Sarah has to leave, but could she do her spiel?
Yes, let's jump ahead for Sarah.
Thank you so much, Remy. I appreciate it. I'm sorry, Paul. I didn't want to interrupt you. But I do have to be somewhere after 8. But I'll go ahead and share my reports very quickly. Fatima already shared a lot of what I was going to say, so it's going to be pretty brief. I just first wanted to share, in terms of the Ward Canyon storefront building, that is scheduled to be demolished within the next 2 weeks. They told us sometime in mid-June. Again, I know you were told earlier, but there have been some delays, just usually because of contracting and whatnot. But they have more of a definitive date now. But they just told us for now it's going to be middle of June. So be on the lookout for that. It is fenced off at the moment, and it is being monitored for any sort of trash or graffiti. Are there any questions on that?
Everybody looks pretty happy.
That's good. That's why we're here, to keep you happy. And Fatima also mentioned that the final budget is coming to an end, the final budget process. We do want to invite you to join us at council on Tuesday, June 10th for the final review and approval of the fiscal year 2026 budget. The proposed budget does include harmful cuts to parks, libraries, and recreation centers. That's why we want to urge you to voice your feedback and give us your opinion, and we want you to help us protect them. So if you can please take 1 minute to send a message to city leaders, urging them to restore funding and protect the community spaces that matter most. You can do that by, first of all, of course, joining City Council, the meeting on Tuesday, June 10th. You can also do it by submitting a comment at a link sdd9.info/action. I'll go ahead and put that link in the comment section, and it also should be emailed to you. Any questions on that?
What time is the meeting on June 10th?
June 10th, you know what? That's a good question. I don't have the time at the top of my head. I believe it should be sometime in the morning, but I know the city website should have it. After I'm done giving my report, I'll go look at it, try to find it, and then just put it in the comments for the board to share out.
Okay, that sounds good.
Sarah,
Board meeting after people's work hours. So people could actually attend it.
Let's take Ramy, and then we'll move on to the room. Go, Ramy, go ahead.
so Sarah, you just mentioned you used the word harmful, and I know I had read Mr. Elo Rivera's comments on what he understood about the budget.
Mm-hmm.
Is there some discussion happening about repealing the strong mayor system in San Diego so that we have more control as citizens over what is happening and one person has less control?
Raimi, I don't have an answer for that. That might be better suited to ask Fatima actually.
Oh,
Because I
I'm
haven't.
sorry, I thought the council was in control of having that vote.
I understand, but I just haven't been a part of those conversations. At least nothing has been told to the community representatives on that. So
Gotcha.
I'm not sure if there has been a discussion. I'm not saying there has or hasn't. I just don't know, and I don't want to communicate incorrect information. But
Understood.
I can ask my team and get back to you via email if that's okay.
That would be perfectly fine, and I think you know which side of the fence I fall on.
Yes, of course.
Okay, thank you.
Of course. Are there
Okay.
any? I have one
Um,
more update to share, unless there's questions.
Sure. There's a question from Sammy.
Yeah, I mean, not a question, just a comment, but the sign up where it sends out the canned letters to different city council members to speak out about the budget cuts, is super easy and takes like 10 seconds, so thanks for supplying that to our community.
Thank you, Sammy. Okay, and so my final report is that, sorry. I'm just looking at my notes. So later this month, we'll be hosting the second meeting of the committee to address the cost of living on Wednesday, June 25th at 9 a.m. The committee aims at tackling the rising financial burdens facing San Diego residents. One of the items that we'll be bringing forward at the meeting is the Tourism Worker Fair Pay Ordinance, which would raise the minimum wage to $25 per hour for entertainment, hospitality, and janitorial workers in the tourism sector. If you'd like to support, please send a message to city leaders urging them to pass the Tourism Worker Fair Pay Ordinance. You can do that at the link sdd9.info/raise the wage. I'll also go ahead and put that in the comments. Any other questions? That's all my updates for now.
Yes, Susan.
Sarah, I believe this morning you said something about a 9 a.m. on Friday that you could make public comments about budget.
So
Is that right?
you cut out a little bit from what I understand. That is the committee to address the cost of living. That's Wednesday, June 25th at 9 a.m. Is that the one you're talking about?
There's going to be a vote on the 10th for the budget, the final budget, but that there's still one more preview meeting this Friday at 9 a.m. Is that
Yeah,
right?
so that was a meeting that Fatima mentioned, yeah, and her updates. So I when I mentioned the other meeting I was mentioning was on, I believe it was a week from today. It's June 10th, and that's the final review and approval of the budget.
Is Fatima still there? Is there a 9 a.m. this Friday? Nothing?
So there is a meeting this Friday. I don't have it in my report, so I don't have the information. But she did share it out earlier.
That's the June 6th IBA report. I don't know what
It's a budget committee meeting.
It's an independent budget analyst. Is that what it is, IBA?
I believe that they're going to review the IBA report on June 6th at 9 a.m. leading into the final vote on June 10th.
That's where you can still make public comment.
I believe there's public comment on all of the meetings.
All of them, right? So in other words, 3 or 4 days before the 10th.
Yeah.
Basically. Okay, thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you. Next up, shall the NHCPG endorse the Save Our Heritage organization based on common cause? And Francis, you have some words.
We're kind of late, so I'm gonna go through this really.
Sure.
Okay, so, Save Our Heritage Organization, SOHO, is a nonprofit, founded in 1969. And their mission, I'll be very briefly, to educate and advocacy and stewardship for girls and girls and support preservation of the architectural, cultural, and historically landmarks that contribute to the collective identity, depth, and character of our region. Be a catalyst for preservation by raising awareness and appreciation of our region's architectural and cultural. And I was planning this issue so that we promote responsible economic development to support historic preservation and cultural. for the job, for the overall economic development. So there's a conflict between the mission of SOHO and the mission of this planning board. I believe there's some overlap. So the reason I'm wanting to bring this forward now is I just become aware of that the mayor and city council are have come up with an initiative that they call preservation and progress initiative, which basically weakens historic protection for existing property, makes it harder to designate individual properties as historic, reduces protection for historic sites that have already been designated, and eliminates historic screening before building permits. And all of these proposals taken together would weaken the tools that are called to preserve historic landmarks and neighborhoods in the name of streamlining construction of new houses. And it's already been legislated through against the SDA. So we already have plenty of streamlining. Okay, and so as a kind of adjunct to that, I think what now more than ever, preservation of existing buildings can serve a useful purpose in increasing available housing through something called adaptive reuse, which I'm sure some people here know about. But it's basically repurposing existing buildings. It's the greenest and cheapest way to go. And it's been used very effectively in redeveloping the LA, especially in downtown areas through financial aid. 12,000 units have been created in downtown LA. Living units have been created through adaptive reuse. And the state is now considering, rather than just historic buildings, allowing any building more than 15 years old to be eligible for adaptive reuse. Older neighborhoods by law, but fewer of the reuse, but some called naturally occurring affordable housing. We're thinking about possibilities in one site. It isn't living space, but I was thinking, well, could the Rite Aid become a new library? I mean, could the old theater fabric store have housing built above it? One example, one really beautiful example, and it is not strictly adaptive reuse, but it's building has been used over and over again for the same purpose and beautifully preserved, is the Wilkinson block, which is in 30 corner. Downtown, Horton Plaza was recently have been adapted or repurposed from shopping centers to incorporate scientific companies and housing. So, and then Alcohol Boulevard is full of there's so many possibilities. So I sent an email, I don't know if anyone was able to watch this very interesting by Dr. Diane King about the adaptive reuse. And it really, I'll figure out how to get to it and so here and some of those websites but it's not there yet. It's very interesting. Okay. First of all, write a letter opposing this, what do they call it, preservation progress initiative, which is anything about preservation, doesn't not progress, and that would be against the city. And I would think it would be interesting if other people would think so, to have maybe someone from SOHO or this Dr. Diane Kane, who's an expert, come and talk to us about adaptive reuse, which is, really very interesting. And then finally, there's a few of these postcards on the table here, which are, you can sign to your council member, again, asking them not to remove all the protection on historic properties and weaken the historic protection section. So those are my requirements.
Then, yeah, Dan, I know you have skin in the game on, please.
Well, the thing to remember about our historic resources, the entire inventory of built structures, built environment, It's less than 10% of the built environment to be considered potentially historic. And, right around the city, go for miles, the places that no significant whatsoever. The city is right for, well, I think, my first. The. Of the territory, so those are all from one place. So I believe hands off in those areas, and you have a wide swath of places to go. And, you can also incorporate historic structures into development. This has been proven over and over again. Such developers as Jonathan Siegel, Rob Quigley, Peter Janipal, Sandy Shavery, John Morris, who built Petco Park. That's an example of the developer going in wanting to level the entire area for that ballpark. And built. They create around it. They saved 11 of the 12 historic buildings, including the Western Metal Building, which is now an iconic part of Petco Park.
And SOHO was very intimate.
This is a theme. So this is just the preservation of it. That whole area, the whole this district, you would call it, has design guidelines. So that everything that goes in beyond just the immediate ball. So these potential and possibilities of historic preservation work, development and preservation can work together. Just great developers to do that. They don't mind, creative people, give it a challenge, we'll do it.
Well, then, what I'm hearing is there's two motions on the table. One is an informal motion to ask SOHO to come and do a presentation. Usually we kind of get a head nod on, we think that that's valuable. Which I believe we would not vote on now, but we kind of agree that someone would write that if we think it's a good idea. So we have sort of two informal motions to make, so. Yes.
That letter needs to get. Well, I think. Quite sure. I get the sense of urgency from SOHO, but I mean, I guess it's existed for a while.
Okay. Then should we make a motion to draft a letter and then send it as soon as possible, rather than wait for another meeting cycle?
I have that question.
Yes.
What is the name of the initiative?
It's called, preservation.
Has there been? Has there been a reading of a proposed ordinance?
I don't know the answer to that. I believe it's an effective policy. I believe it's in effect. According to, I think oh, perhaps that was the urgency. Yeah. Oh, yeah, because I'll give you this kind of explanation of what the initiative encompasses and why not why.
So it's not unusual for this body to support nonprofit organizations and certain overlapping interests. So I'll take input on what the motion should be.
Well, I guess I would just say, at least in terms of other times when we've been asked to provide some sort of letter in support of opposition, we usually have the opportunity to review that. And review kind of the detailed information. So I understand the timing's an issue, but I don't know if I feel comfortable voting on just a like, you know what I mean, like, without knowing,
Okay.
but.
Then,
Yeah,
then let's do,
but I don't need to slow it down either. Yeah. Well, I can make the motion to have the person come in and talk, for sure.
okay. So why don't we,
Right there.
have,
Try to get it from one.
yeah, have them come talk, and then whether they do or not, we should draft a letter. And then we could bring that for, we can distribute that prior to the meeting and then bring that to the meeting for approval and sign. Okay,
Can we, only discuss, what can be included in the letter, and any kind of in the letter in the public meeting? Or can we discuss that beforehand and then?
I think strict Brown Act compliance is that we can only discuss it in a public forum, but we could create a subcommittee that would do the edit. So we can have an ad hoc subcommittee for those that are interested in working on the letter. And then that subcommittee would take that letter and bring it to the full board for discussion and final approval.
That could be a good idea, because I think it might be challenging to have enough time to go over that sort of thing.
Yeah. So then those who are interested in being on the committee of editors for the letter, raise your hand, because we'll just form that. Yeah. Three's good, three's good. Okay, so you guys will put together a draft and bring it to the next meeting. Okay.
And in the meantime, we got to, I'm sure there's a. You go.
Yeah, forward me the link and I'll make sure that that's on our resources page. Yeah. You're like. Yeah, well, bear that in mind.
I just have a quick suggestion.
Yes.
For the draft letter, it's probably helpful if it can be attached to the agenda.
Yes.
So everybody has a chance to review it. beforehand.
Okay, and I'll try to get the agenda out earlier as well. Okay. Let's see, let's go down the let's race to the barn because it's 8:30. Chair report, we have obviously the training for the Brown Act distributed. It's a I believe it's a webinar where you watch the video and then there's spots along the way where you answer a question. So you that makes it take notes during the meeting, during the webinar. It's an annual requirement of all board members. Because then I'll roll that up to our city representative, Natalie, and then she'll have the count for our compliance. No. Anyway. There's a training from the Urban Institute on June 12th, and there's a link in the agenda for that. And then there's a link in the agenda for that. It sounds really great. They're gonna run you like a course for free. So I think, and they serve lunch too, they told me. Unfortunately, I will be out of town, but I encourage you to attend. Fire Safe Council is working on the hazard zone map update. So there was a forum with the fire marshals, and the city is going to be updating the map to bring back in those areas that were lost. So that's the high level on that. Devil's in the details, and of course, you can always contact Susan for those details. CPC now has a new chair and vice chair. They had their annual election. And they're also going to start hybrid meetings based on our template. So we brought an owl into their session. The last meeting we used the owl device, and I think the next one will actually allow remote attendance by and voting by board members, because they're spread out from all the way from Escondido to the Mexican border. And if we have it in Claremont Mesa, not everybody can make it there by 6 p.m. even if they don't go. Kudos to everyone who's been a part of building this hybrid meeting that we have here. City Council budget meeting was quite raucous. A lot of attendees don't want their libraries, parks cut, and so that's an ongoing situation. You heard from Fatima. The bonus ADU program reform was also discussed at the CPC and is currently in progress with the City Council. Mainly, they're looking at trying to close up some of the loopholes where developers can build enormous things in areas they shouldn't. Last item I have is that the Rite Aid is closing. That property is owned by a family trust, so no idea what's going to happen on that property, but I think as Francis was suggesting, it might make a good library. It's got square footage. That's it for that one. And then El Cajon Business Improvement. Is Gary Weber still on the line? I think he may have bailed. On that. Community Recreation Advisory Group.
Yeah, they went Zoom this time, it was not in person. And I was like getting on it, but I did keep up on it. And they were just talking about the budget, coming up with the rec center. And they were explaining that some of the cut, then that will, they can only have 40 hours, they can't go over 40 hours. And that some of these things that are in the evenings or on the weekends might not, be a problem with it, because there won't be anybody to work it, so that's what they're worried about, is about the hours getting cut, and that will take away some of the programs, like Bobby Sports is in there. They were talking about the Little League. They were talking about some of the projects that the rec center is putting on, during the ceramics and the different other classes, that it might be a problem with their hours.
Okay.
So a lot of them show that.
So important to support the budget for them. Next, Paul. Yes. Oh, yes. Hi.
Sorry.
Sorry.
You have time for my update?
Yes, please. Yes, please. Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. I'll try to make it quick.
And a quick introduction of yourself too.
Yes, of course. My name is Sam Gonzalez, District Representative for State Senator Akio Pearson. Thank you for having me tonight. There's 5 major updates. I'll try to be brief, but feel the original deadline is June 15th. that must be passed by midnight. Funny anecdote, sometimes legislators will go ahead and take the battery out of the clock at, right before midnight to make extra time. That's how important this deadline is. Right now, State Senator Laura Pearson from June 2nd through June 6th will be in the floor, the Senate floor, passing Senate bills, basically from either for 8 hours or more. Not sure how long she was here today, but this will go on till June 6th. No other committees are allowed to meet until all the Senate bills coming from the Senate House are passed into the Assembly. Let's see, and we will see that on October 12th, that's the last day for the governor to sign or veto bills. So just keep an eye out for any bills that you might want me to report on. I'll go. So today there's like 8 bills that the Senate passed that were part of Senator Weber Pearson's legislative packet. I'm not going to read through the list, but if you are interested, I can do so at your request. And finally, the backpack giveaway, our annual backpack giveaway is going to be on July 12th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. I think three constituents of the 39 will be giving away 500 backpacks and having about 20 community resource or organizations table at the event. You guys are welcome to come. And I'll be sending my report electronically to Paul so that you guys have it as well. Any questions I can take now or through email?
Sure. We homeschool through a charter, and there's an informed assembly bill coming up for us that is going to dismantle the way we know about homeschooling that we've done for now 8 years. Purpose is gifted and definitely in the box. These charter schools are really important to us because they provide us not only with credentialed teachers that can help for any issues we have, but they also provide funding for curriculum for and connecting with so that kind of classes and doing other activities for also homeschooling. We have thousands of kids that are homeschooling through these charter schools. Ours is called CPA, the Course Academy. Sure, she 80. It's not going to take away from any of the neighborhood schools, but it's going to dismantle the way we know about homeschooling, so it's something I'm super emotional about. We deserve the public to life. And deserve. Wonderful kids and who need the support from being in public school, like having IEP, having other support. So thank you for listening to me.
Yeah, thank you for your comment.
I really want her to oppose AB.
I'll let her know, just a quick comment, we get a lot of those AB4 opposition comments when parents concerned about the effect on charter schools across all types. Her strategy so far as to assembly bills has been the keeper stand, not unknown, but he hasn't developed one yet, because we didn't know if it was making its way to the Senate. I don't know if it's made its way to the Senate right now.
Yeah, and I was looking to see you here about wondering where the board that is.
So now that we might work.
Right.
I'll follow up with them, I can check in, but once it makes its way to the Senate, I can let her know and we can, if she will stand, I will.
I love it. Really heavily again. Thank you.
Cool, thank you.
Quick update, community garden is an ongoing work to lay out the solarizing material to kill off the weeds, so just keep a heads up for that. And then Mid-City Community Plan update.
Our next meeting is on June 25th, a location TBD. So if you're interested, please let me know. Those are open to the public. They've not published the agenda on what we'll be talking about, but they are wrapping up kind of the existing conditions phase. And then next we'll move into the actual plan updates, which will be, we won't see draft of that until next winter. So next meeting is June 25th. And I wish I had a location for you, but if you're interested, let me know after and I'm gonna email you details. Thank you.
Thank you. Historic property review.
31, 37 calling or really provide the due diligence in considering that property. A good bungalow, in fact, as far as I can tell.
What was the address again?
Yeah, 31, 37 calling.
Okay. I'll have to swing by. Utility undergrounding.
Yes, so, it's, yeah, it's a journey, we're on it. Just to keep things quick, we have formed a formal subcommittee, so if anybody is interested in undergrounding or the maintenance assessment district, please let Francis or I know. At this point, we have met with city staff on kind of laying out the framework for the next steps of forming a maintenance assessment district, which would be for decorative acorn lights in the area north of Adams. It's called Block 3DD. We can show you a map of where that is. I'm just trying to keep it quick for the evening, but essentially there was a meeting held for SDG&E for the undergrounding portion of it. They will not have another public meeting until 2026, which will be the pre-construction meeting. And SDG&E is in process on their design, which if you've been around for a while, they've done like 4 or 5 times, but yes, we are designing yet again. But construction is anticipated to start sometime after 2026. One thing, there is a survey that SDG&E put out about the location of the utility boxes. They're looking for community input on that. We'd be happy to send you the link. It's a Google form. But the city has not been, and SDG&E, there hasn't been a lot of opportunity for the public to input. So definitely the utility boxes is a great place to start. Anything I missed, Francis?
How do we leave things? When you're gonna get guidance about the cost analysis?
Yes. Yeah, so where we left things with the city reps is they are going to run a cost analysis, but they need the revised design, which SDG is not done with. So that will be the next step to be on timing.
Okay. Speed comment.
Oh, traffic calming. I'll speak for Brian since he's not here this month. So one thing the traffic calming subcommittee discussed at our last meeting was requesting a speed trailer from the police department. So Brian contacted Officer Denny Hall. She contacted the appropriate people in the police department, and they put out a data collecting speed sign. If you were on North Mountain View, you might have seen it. It was out there for 8 days. They collected a whole bunch of data. I'll just do a very quick summary of what that data was. There were just over 5,400 vehicles, averaging about 600 to 700 a day. The average speed limit, let's see, 56% of the vehicles were over the speed limit, 44% were under the speed limit. The average speed was about 26 miles an hour. The average violation speed was about 30 miles an hour, and the 85th percentile speed was 31 miles per hour. In terms of excessive speed, the city defines it as vehicles going over 40 miles an hour, and that was about 2% of total vehicles. I also added in vehicles going at least 10 miles an hour above the speed limit, and that gets us to a little over 5% of the vehicles were going at least 10 miles an hour above the speed limit in that location. They removed the sign before they cleared the street for the marathon, and I believe they're looking to maybe bring the sign back. It's somewhere else in the city now. And they're wanting to bring the sign back on the other side of the street. And then possibly it'll go somewhere else in the city and maybe we can get it in a few other places. So if you have thoughts on where you think one of these speed trailers would be helpful, where you have lots of speeding happening, let Brian know, let me know, let Francis know, let Paul know, and we'll take it into account. I believe the traffic calming subcommittee has also been collecting locations using social media. So
yeah, I owe you a synopsis, I think.
Yeah.
Would, I would nominate the Mountain View at the 35th merge. Although there are stops supposedly there.
Well, there's no stop on 35th.
There's no stop on 35th.
It's a straight shot all the way around the end.
Well, that's an interesting question, how you use one speed trailer on a merging intersection like that.
That'd be a good question.
And actually pull that leg of the Mountain View, so they're in the Mountain View is wide and fairly, so people really get moving along there.
Okay. Great, thank you.
Paul?
Jill, bring us out. Oh,
Paul,
yes, Rainey.
did we want to share with everybody what the top speed was?
Oh, it was 60-something miles an hour, right?
69, I think.
69 miles an hour.
Yeah. Okay, well, with that, bring us out. What's it? Oh. We're out of time. What next time? Thank you all.